Right, nobody was able to stop him. It's that type of shot, though. Even today, if anyone were to just take the time to learn how to shoot it, they would find that it's a very effective weapon, especially against tall defenders.
You're talking about perfection when you discuss Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a tribute to basketball in motion. Kareem solidified his reputation as one of the best players to have ever played by winning 6 MVP awards, 6 titles, and the skyhook, the most unstoppable move in NBA history. However, greatness isn't created without conflict. It is formed in the furnace of rivalry. Who, then, inspired Kareem to battle, perspire, and step up his game? Let's examine the 6 icons that Kareem himself regarded as the most resilient during his career. Wilt Chamberlain, the force that could not be stopped. Standing at a towering 7'1" and having the mobility of a guard, Wilt was not just big. He was legendary. One of the most formidable forces in basketball history was Wilt. On the court, this was more than simply a man. It was like attempting to halt an earthquake. Every fight with Wilt was a struggle for Kareem's existence, a test of power and ability against an opponent who seemed invincible. It wasn't Wilt's basketball game. He was there to control and degrade. He also informed his opponents of it. However, his ridiculous 50 points per game average in his prime speaks for itself. He was also a monster on defense, collecting rebounds from players much stronger than him and blocking shots without appearing to try. Wilt forced me to reconsider every aspect of my strategy. Kareem famously said, "He would make you look foolish out there if you weren't ready to fight on every possession." Wilt was smarter than players, outperformed them, and made good use of trash talk. And Wilt could talk, I assure you. His words would enter Kareem's mind, such as, "You better bring everything you got, kid." However, that won't be sufficient either. There was psychological warfare in addition to the physical conflicts. Kareem acknowledged that he was pushed to the edge by Wilt's mind tricks. Kareem clarified that he was constantly talking trash. However, it made me more focused rather than irate. Each insult served as fuel for the flames. He made me do better than I had previously believed I was capable of. Wilt made me feel my best. Kareem's famed skyhook allowed him moments of control in what felt like anarchy, and he made every possession feel like life or death. The skyhook proved to be an equalizer regardless of Wilt's dominance, but Kareem honed it to the point that even Wilt's 7'8" wingspan was unable to stop it from continuously captivating spectators. Their rivalry was characterized by this combination of unquestionable brilliance and vicious strength. It seemed like climbing a moving mountain to face Chamberlain. Nevertheless, Kareem consistently stepped up to the plate. Wilt held everyone he faced to a high standard. Among the basketball gods, Kareem's name is now ingrained. Kareem had what he needed in Chamberlain to become one of the best players of all time. Because of this, he will always be remembered by Kareem as the unstoppable force that shaped his ascent to fame. Bill Walton. Bill Walton was the epitome of a team player, renowned for his passing, basketball IQ, and unrelenting rebounding. Kareem appreciated the purity of Bill's game. Kareem frequently said that Walton was improving basketball rather than only playing it. Bill was constantly 2 steps ahead, so it was impossible to outsmart him. Kareem revealed in a conversation, few big men could improve their team as much as Bill did, even if many of them could score goals. Kareem's and Bill's chess bouts were famous. Although he was not the most physically commanding center, his intelligence more than made up for it. Using his accurate passing to locate shooters or cutting down the lane for deft finishes, he would take advantage of little openings in defenses. Kareem clarified that in order to defeat Bill, you had to be flawless. Errors were not an option when he was outside. Kareem can still clearly recall a game from the 1977 playoffs in which his Lakers lost to Walton's Portland Trail Blazers. In terms of leadership, defense, and rebounding, Walton was outstanding. It seemed unreal. Bill wasn't interested in statistics. His focus was on winning. Kareem stated that every action he took aided his objective. Kareem saw that Bill was capable of outthinking and outperforming even the best, despite the fact that injuries hampered his career. He was like a conductor of an orchestra when he played basketball. Kareem thought Bill was a headache to deal with because he was all about team camaraderie. Moses Malone, the tenacious fighter from Malone. Malone possessed an incredible amount of willpower. Malone was described by Kareem as one of the most formidable opponents he had ever encountered, a player who thrived on physicality rather than just fighting. Malone, known as the chairman of the boards, had a remarkable talent for controlling games only by grabbing rebounds and frequently converting missed attempts into scoring opportunities. Malone wasn't ostentatious. He had no intention of impressing anyone. He just worked harder than everyone else, Kareem previously stated in an interview. Playing against him was tiring because he never stopped. Malone was unavoidable due to his unrelenting enthusiasm and unwavering resolve. Knowing that even a brief slip-up might result in a rebound or foul, Kareem frequently found himself battling Malone for every square inch of the court. However, Moses stood out for his capacity to inspire others, particularly during when he led the Sixers to a championship in 1983, his MVP season. Malone transformed his roughness into leadership. According to Kareem, the leadership was quiet and uncommunicative. There was a lot of action. Every night he arrived prepared to fight, prepared to rule. Kareem saw Malone as evidence that when skill isn't at its best, effort triumphs. Even if you were the world's best player, Moses would still outscore you. Kareem claimed that Malone's unrelenting work ethic made him one of his most formidable opponents and a genuine basketball legend like Larry Bird. Larry Bird, the heartless murderer. In footwear, Bird was an assassin. Kareem found that confronting Bird felt like confronting a future-seeing person. It was alarming how Bird could read the game, identify holes, and take advantage of them. He always anticipated where you would be before you did. Kareem acknowledged that Bird didn't have to run quickly or jump very high. He used his thoughts and his unwavering confidence to dominate the game. Larry had this way of getting in your head, Kareem said, recalling Bird's trash talk during games. He wasn't noisy, yet he could bury a jumper in your face after putting you down with a single statement. Bird was a triple threat because of his ability to shoot and rebound, someone who could control the game from any position on the floor. Particularly noteworthy were the NBA Finals in 1984 between Bird's Celtics and Kareem's Lakers. Larry refused to give up. He treated each thing as though it were his last. Kareem claimed that because of Bird's unrelenting work ethic, he had to change every aspect of his game to cope with him. Bird was cold-blooded, not simply harsh, in Kareem's opinion. Larry would simply stare at you as if it were the most commonplace thing in the world after he hit a great shot. According to Kareem, Bird's unshakable confidence made him one of the fiercest competitors Kareem ever faced, and an undisputed basketball icon. Hakeem Olajuwon, the footwork king. Taking on Haki was like attempting to protect a flame of creativity. He was an example of a new breed of centers who combined basic talent, athleticism, and elegance in their play. In an interview, Kareem stated that Haki was unique. He outsmarted you, not simply outpowered you. He had such exquisite footwork that it was like dancing. Hakeem's use of a combination of fadeaways, spin techniques, and dream shakes, referred to as the dream, put Kareem on edge throughout their matches. It was impossible to predict Haki's next move. Kareem claimed that because of his unpredictable nature, he was nearly impossible to defend. Hakeem's MVP season in 1994, when he led the Rockets to a championship, was one instance that Kareem found particularly memorable. Haki caused issues. Kareem claimed that he was not scared to challenge people and that he had no trouble converting defense into offense. He was controlling the game rather than merely responding to it. Haki represented basketball's growth, a facility that flourished on talent as opposed to force. I now respect the younger generation because of Haki. Watching him play was like watching a master at work, Kareem said. Hockey demonstrated that dominance didn't just depend on bulk. Brains and a little magic were what you needed. The huge E is Elvin Hayes, the silent killer. Kareem found the aggressiveness with which Elvin played to be subtly frightening. Elvin, who was 69 years old, was the ideal size and talent combination to take on Kareem. And Kareem's skyhook was almost as unguardable as his fadeaway jumper. Elvin handled every possession with toughness. Kareem claimed that after forcing you to battle for rebounds, he would strike you with an unblockable fadeaway. Hayes wasn't ostentatious. He was steady, composed, and lethal. He was steady, composed, and lethal. And you would suffer the consequences if you even slightly underestimated him. Epic games between the Lakers and Hayes Bullets in the 1970s are among Kareem's most memorable moments with Hayes. Elvin didn't back down from anyone, Kareem remarked. He would subtly control the game by matching your enthusiasm with his own. In his heyday, he was one of the league's top scorers and rebounders. Evidence of his unwavering reliability, Elvin stood for the unsung heroes, the players who crushed their rivals without requiring attention. Kareem thought, "Elvin taught me that big efforts win games, not big egos." Despite his quiet demeanor, Elvin's skill on the court was louder than words could possibly express. Kareem's 6 NBA titles and unstoppable skyhook aren't the only things that define his legacy. His struggles against the hardest players to ever play on the floor bear witness to it. He was pushed to his limits, challenged, and elevated by these tales. Every competition narrates a tale of perseverance and the quest for excellence. And as a result of their struggles, basketball achieved new heights that none of us could have predicted. That's about it for this one. Remember to click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.